Kyle Shanahan's stubborn with running the ball. It's like, bro, this is third week in a row. Your run game sucks. You're ineffective. You can't do anything. So,
you predicted my little thing.
Is this running game, rushing game? So, boom, perfect transition, right? It's like, I think I put a stat. I combined the amount of yards and carries that McCaffrey has gotten since that Cowboys game. He's averaging 3 yards a carry. That's putrid for an all-pro running back. This last game, I actually suggested that, all right, if you guys are going to willingly risk McCaffrey out there, who I said should a sat, and I think we agreed, and we look like quacks for that, is use him as a receiver. And guess what? He had his best play of the game as a receiver. So my thing was, why don't you incorporate him more as a receiver? Especially maybe now I'm thinking, why don't you use him more going forward as a receiver? Give him 12 or 15 carries, maybe 10 to 15, and give Mason 6 to 8, Mitchell 2 to 3, whatever
Mason,
combination you want to use.
Averages 6 yards a carry and did not get a carry last game, by the way.
That's part of the stubbornness, right? It's like, I'm going to keep running even though it's not working. I'm going to keep running McCaffrey because, like, look, I get it. We all know McCaffrey's sweet. A toddler knows he's amazing. But at some point, look, we can watch the game and be like, this is not working. Like, this is literally not working. There's no analytics that are going to, dude, the passing was working. Why don't you – it reminds me, like, back at the Atlanta game last year when it's like, look, I know Jimmy Garoppolo is such a volatile quarterback, but that game, he was actually throwing the pill pretty nicely. Why not try to throw more with him? In this case, the running game's not working. Why not try to throw? And it's like Kyle does not acknowledge the pass. And I don't even think that's like a knock against Purdy. It was like, I don't trust Purdy to throw the ball. It's just, I just love the running game so much. And I just want to keep doing this. He's like opposite of Andy Reid, where I'm going to run the ball 50 times. Andy Reid wants to throw the ball 50 times. So it's like, but even at least Andy knows, like, hey, I got to spot check with some runs here to really like alleviate the throwing or just keep him honest. And it's just like, just over and over again, just running McCaffrey. And this is part of the McCaffrey running into the ground part. It's like, dude, he has nowhere to run.
And like when confronted about this fact, he's like, Kyle Shanahan is completely blind. Like he's like, I see no problem with his usage
because he knows better. Again, it's like when you're getting asked questions from like 50-year-old Eric Branch, it's like, dude, Branch, what the hell do you know? Stuff like that. They get because the arrogance of them.
Shouts at Eric Branch.
That's what he is, a 50-year-old. That's what I know, and I know from people who work for these teams. Like, it's like, dude, you got to think about how these players, especially coming off their loss, and these coaches, like, this is their field. They're getting asked by people who don't, quote unquote, know shit. And it's like, at least compared to them, right? In retrospect.
Was it you that I was talking about? I'm side noting it, but was it you that I was talking? Like, I feel like the first 5 weeks when they were, totally winning, and it looked like Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan were on their honeymoon, and he was so happy to have Christian McCaffrey. I was like, look at his energy. Like, he's shifted. He's a new person. He talked about reading self-help books. Like, this is a new coach. And you were like, wait till they lose, then determine.
Especially in the last
life advice. It's good life advice. Like, we should evaluate people in times of like crisis and down. Like, how do they treat people? We shouldn't be like, oh, look, like they just won the lottery. They seem like really nice, happy people. It's like, okay, well, are you gonna give a homeless person $1 if you only have 5?
Right.
Ooh, look at me getting philosophical on YouTube. Anyways, back to the rushing game. Do you have an issue? Because I think a lot of people have given the excuse of not using Jordan Mason as he is like inefficient in pass pro, and then he doesn't know his assignments really well. Against the Browns, he like lined up in the wrong spot a couple times, stuff like that. And so people were like hypothesizing, okay, because he can't do that, that's why he's not on the field. I have 2 questions / complaints about that. One, they were doing a lot of like 2-back system against the Vikings where they had Mitchell and CMC. So why couldn't they do Mason and CMC? Because then you can run Mason and you can have CMC do that. And then 2, you can't use Jordan Mason not knowing the like offense or the pass protection well enough as an excuse. You're the coach. If he doesn't know that reflects poorly on you. Like, he's been on the team for 2 years. Why doesn't he know what he's doing? Like, no one has sat with him
and just don't use him there. Like, just don't use him there. How about as simple as that? Just don't use him there.
I think people's argument back to that would be like, then you're telling the other team that you're going to run the ball. But also, at the end of the game, at the end of the game, when the other team knows that there's been game time where the other team has known that all the 49ers are going to do is run the ball, and Jordan Mason still gets carries. But I just think it's like that's a flaw in the coaching system. Like, that reflects back poorly on you. If I used to teach elementary school. If like my kid didn't know like 2 times 2, they wouldn't be like, this kid is stupid. They'd be like, teacher, like, why didn't you tell them that 2 plus, so.
Yeah, no, I think that plays into stubbornness again,
I'm
right? It's
sweating.
just like I love my guys and just stuff like that. And it's like, bro, like we get it, you love your guys, but it's like, don't play them out there. I mean, I don't know. I don't. It's kind of funny that we're like talking about why can't you get your running back 2/3 more carries, and it's like, what are we even talking about here? It's like, but no, we're talking about it because we saw Mason run pretty sweet against the Cowboys, and I know that game at that part of the game, it was pretty much out of reach by the time he came in. But he runs hard and gives a nice change of pace. Like, to me, I always loved looking back to 2019 for the 49ers rushing attack is they went with a trio of backs, right? Or a duo. At the beginning of the season, it was Coleman, Breida, then it was Breida, Mostert, then it was Mostert, and then Coleman at the end. Where, I know McCaffrey is significantly better than any backs he's had, but there's got to be somewhere a little bit of a balance. I feel like if you take at least 3 to 5 carries away, given to Mason, it'll help the offense in a way, and then McCaffrey better rested, it'll probably surcharge him or it'll probably boost him up to give him maybe more of like bigger chunk yard gains versus just keep smashing into a castle wall with your battering ram. It's like, bro, it's like it's at some point if it's not work again, if it was working, it's doing fine like it was like the first 4 games. All right, cool. But it's not working. So if
you're like, now he's hurt and it's not efficient. So
if something's not working and you're in anything like you have clear evidence like, okay, it hasn't worked 10, 15 times. Let's do it a 16 to 18 more times. Maybe it'll work more. Like, no, like, come on. At that point, that's on you.
See, now I'm empathizing with Kyle Shanahan. I'm like big, what's that quote? Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. I feel like I'm like that. Like, you know how they're like, oh, like you touch the hot stove and you learn the lesson. I have to touch the hot stove. I have to touch the hot stove like 10 times before I get it. I'm like, damn, like that really hurts. And like everyone else is staring, like, didn't you already do this? So maybe I empathize a little bit with Kyle Shanahan on that. Why? Okay, I can understand. We understand that Kyle loves Christian McCaffrey, whether or not it's effective or not. He loves Christian McCaffrey. Why is Elijah Mitchell getting time over Jordan Mason right now?
Loves him. He's infatuated with him. I just think it's simple as that. He loves him. When Kyle Shanahan's infatuated with a player, they can do no wrong. And with Mitchell, he just chalks it up pretty much to injuries, right? I mean, I don't look on that carry he got. It kind of felt like he had nowhere to go, but it also looked like he came up to the line of scrimmage slow. So look, I'll say that it's not just totally always like McCaffrey's not running well. I think as part of it is like the run blocking is kind of being consistent too right now. Especially like we just said, that right side. I feel like McKivitz can do nothing right at this point. I feel like McKivitz's run blocking is the worst right now. It's crazy. But yeah, it's definitely part of that. But I don't know. I just feel like if you have someone who's clearly been more, like I've been saying, more reliable, dependable, and efficient, why not just go with that guy who's younger and like has his arrow pointing up? Because Mitchell, far we know, in that one carry, could have got hurt. That was one thing for me. It was like, is he hurt? Like as soon as he got hurt, as soon as he got tackled, I was like, is he probably hurt? And then, okay, no, he got up. That's what I'm questioning every single time. That's not good because that's how injury prone he is.
So scary. It's so scary. And I feel bad. Like his rookie year, he was a really amazing running back, but he's also
and he only played 12 games that year, I think.
Yeah,
10.
Yeah,
12, 11.
But like it's not. It's like you were saying with Christian McCaffrey. If they were overusing him, I mean, I would still criticize it because I don't think you should overuse him until the end. But if it was effective, you could like understand more. With Mitchell, it's like also not as effective as Mason, so it's just very frustrating.